Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Thursday, the 23rd of March, comes to you from London. Quite a sad city this morning after yesterday's terrorist event, and our sympathies to all those affected. So we start by looking at the currency markets and the dollar index. Dollar just enjoying a little bit of a bounce this morning, not up by much. This is the test. Will we test at this level a higher high than we a higher low than we were before? This is the key thing. Are we finding support on the cloud? And at the moment, we are teetering along the edge. A new low would be bad for the dollar, putting us into a midterm downtrend. But the interesting thing at the moment is that it looks like we're finding a base. Key thing is look for new upside targets. If we look at the euro is testing the cloud from above, so on the short term, dollar's not quite there yet. Definitely showing some signs of resistance right on the cloud here with a lagging line. So the euro is really struggling above this 108.25 level. That's the level to watch. So for the moment, still looking bearish on the short and medium term with all these downside targets. So we need to be aware of that. Japanese yen, we're seeing the dollar falling here still. Put in some attempted a recovery, but the dollar is still just falling away, but we aren't still yet below the cloud. So key thing again here is, will the dollar recover at these levels? Sterling holding on to its bullish trend at the moment, but again we're flat and waiting for the next move. Can we hold above the cloud here? And the sterling euro rate, sterling just holding its strength there as well, and the same against the Swiss. And against the Australian dollar, a really quite strong appreciation there in recent days, weaker dollar. So if we look at the stock market, we start with the S&P 500. A little bit of a recovery last night. It shows up sometimes. I like the lagging line because sometimes it shows up more clearly on the lagging line what actually happened. We see that bounce with several hours candle. We have just a slight up day there. You can see by the green candle. And the week is actually the first negative week so far for several weeks. But at the moment, we're bullish on the long and medium term. It's just the short term that is bearish. Same is true with the Nasdaq. Quite a recovery here yesterday as well after a big sell-off the day before, and the Dow Jones index. So stock markets are in bearish territory in the short term, but the medium and long term trends are still good. Looking at the futures this morning, very little change in both the S&P and the Nasdaq E-mini, so no clear direction as to which way the market's going to open. FTSE down slightly, down 7.5 points, and below the cloud on that short-term chart as well. No clear downside targets and quite clear upside targets, so we expect this short-term bearishness to be relatively short-lived. The FTSE 250 fell heavily day before, but trying to put in a recovery now. But we are below the cloud in the short term, as is the DAX. Nearly all stock markets below the clouds now in the short term. Japanese market as well. Key thing here is, will we break out of this range? And we see here at the moment we've just got this support level and the resistance level. Are we going to break to the upside? And normally you'd move into the pattern, move along, and then out. So although we're just coming back to test the bottom of the range at the moment, and we are bearish in the short term, we still have no clear downside targets. Looking at the Hang Seng, we are bullish on all three timeframes here. So the Chinese market actually holding up pretty well. On the Shanghai index, still just got work to do to get bullish long term, but we're looking pretty good in the medium and short term. And the Sensex is holding on to its bullish trend here as well, so looking pretty good. The Australian index looking still bullish with all these upside targets, but at the moment we're just in that short term, as with other markets. Brent crude. So key thing here is that we did actually go lower yesterday, and we have gone below the cloud here. So that is a little bit of a worry. We're seeing here that we are actually just below the cloud. If we look at WTI, much the same picture, and so all of these downside targets really hanging over us. And we look at nat gas, much the same there too. Copper bounced on the cloud, so we're seeing short term still pretty good on all time frames. And if we go straight to gold, gold has actually been quite strong the last week or two, and we're seeing again we're just holding that with 1247. We did nudge above 1250 yesterday, but gold is really putting in quite a strong recovery, bullish on all three time frames, and quite big upside targets to play for there. Silver is up very slightly, gold down very slightly, silver is up very slightly. 10-year treasury yields finding a floor at around 2.4%. Looking at tech, Apple's bullish, still above the cloud. Google has turned bearish in the short term, hasn't actually activated this downside target, so the key thing is will we make newer lows? Amazon is below the cloud as well, but no real downside targets to speak of. Facebook holding above the cloud, so that's quite key too. And Microsoft above the cloud still, and Nvidia put in a recovery yesterday. If we take a look at the FTSE, we just click on the percentage change. This is prices coming in from DTN. The real big mover this morning is Next, up 9% on results. The results weren't great, but they were obviously better than expected, and the market has jumped accordingly. So a 9% improvement. The market was expecting worse. M&S up in sympathy, up 2.5%. So that's just, we're seeing that corner of retail doing well. Dixon's up 2% as well. After that, ABF. Quite a bit of retail there as well, I guess. So we're seeing that up, and some others like Tesco as well. But not, it's not all retail. We're seeing, for example, Kingfisher down 2.5%, and if we look at Sainsbury's, also down this morning. So quite a few poor performers. BT was up yesterday in a down market, but still below the cloud on all three charts, so looking pretty poor there as well. And we'll notice some resource stocks like Randgold down this morning, but above the trend on all three charts. So it's where do these moves occur within the scheme of things that really counts. That's it for today. Have a good day. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.